to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. I think we'll call this one horror. It's a psychological thriller, and I think that kind of falls into the horror camp, as always. If you enjoy the show and like what we do here, please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. The more 5-star ratings we get, the more we can, the more people will be able to find the show and listen, and motherfuckers come down the road. Like, people need to stop parking on the street. Like, I think that's the number one issue we have to address here, is that people park in the street too much in this fucking development. So we're going to talk about Watcher, which is director, I forgot the fucking name, I should have written it down. It is her first feature. She had previously directed a short in, VHS 94, and also had a short film that got a lot of notoriety called Slut. This movie is very good. I think it's the better of the two horror movies that came out this weekend, because the first was Crimes of the Future, which I didn't care for, but other people I know did, so maybe I'm just an idiot, which is entirely possible. It's one of those things that, like, I leave and I'm like, this is it. But this one I really loved. It's got a very Hitchcockian feel to it. It feels like I'm watching, like, Rear Window or Vertigo or any number of old Alfred Hitchcock kind of psychological thriller movies from the, way back when he was still making movies, what was it, the 50s, where, the tension isn't just interlaced into the story, it is interlaced into the entire movie, where everything contributes to the feeling of tension and unease throughout the entire thing. It's not just, the plot. It's not just this woman, feeling she's being stalked and actually being stalked and everything that goes along with that. Her husband not, believing her, but the way camera angles work and the way that everything about the movie kind of works in that regard, it adds to it, not a weird way, but in a way. It's like if you ever watched, or read, more accurately, the show that was later adapted into a Netflix, the book that was later adapted into a Netflix show about the guy Joe Goldberg, who kind of forces a girl to fall in love with him by manipulating her life all around her. The book is very well written, in so much as it kind of captures the incel nice guy kind of motif, and his inner dialogue really adds to that and sets the whole thing into motion and gets the whole thing working, where you're reading it and it is deeply unsettling to read. You get that same thing here, where this movie is deeply unsettling to watch through the entire thing, and you get this creepy vibe through the whole movie, and I think the movie functions on that front very well, which is what it needs to do. Otherwise, it's just another psychological thriller. And we have these all the time. Like, I'm putting it up there with, like, Prisoners, which is a great one, or Gone Girl, which is also very well done. And the acting is all great, and I think that, like, there are a lot of thematic things in the, in the movie that kind of play into it in an interesting way. Her isolation definitely does not help throughout the movie, like the fact that, she's moved to Romania, and because she's moved to Romania, she doesn't speak the language, the only person she has there that she can talk to and really trust and, and understand in a way, in a deeper way, is her husband, which creates this additional kind of, feeling of isolation. It adds to, her isolation, I guess would be the word I'm going to use. I don't script these, I don't know if that's apparent, but all it does is it gives this sense of, this feeling that as things unravel, you can see the anxiety building, and everything about it kind of adds to it, and, by the time we get to the end and we see, she is right, we feel that that's the proper way. I will also commend the movie for not ending with someone saving her and letting her save herself, because the ending of that movie, while it's dependent on her, on a distraction coming in her favor, I will say she does save herself, and it's very well executed in that regard. The movie doesn't do anything too inventive in terms of narrative, but the thing is, it's like, here's the thing, it's a first feature. When you do a first feature, you kind of just want to, prove what you can do. Make it a calling card for you, so that way you can get more work in the future. And she does this very well, because it's like, it's taking something that we all know and we've already done. It's serial killer is stalking a girl. The girl is going to be confronted by is going to confront the serial killer and eventually dispatch said serial killer. Like, we've seen this a million times. It is Halloween, it is Friday the 13th, it is, any number of slashers, and it's no wonder that Shudder picked this movie up out of Sundance. It's being distributed in theaters by IFC Midnight, but there is no question as to why it's going to Shudder. It's, it's got the same horror tropes that we would all expect. But the idea that, this movie, it doesn't really do anything unique or different. We don't need it to do anything unique or different. There is no reason why it needs to go out there and try to break the mold, when what you should do is, if you're going to spend the time to make a feature like this to prove that you can, or to illustrate your ability as a director, to try and get additional work, and I think she does this fantastically, is do something above average, but use the general formula that we've seen time and time again. And to that end, this movie succeeds. It does that very, very well. Let me see, what else did I address with this? I mean, really, that's it. It's a very concise movie. It's very short. It's like an hour 45, give or take. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's definitely worth your time. I would recommend seeing it in a theater, not seeing it, not waiting for it to go to Shudder, only because I think movies like this are better served by the theater, because the theater is this, dark environment that attracts all of your attention, and when you're watching a movie, everything is focused on the movie. And I think that if we're going to watch this, if you're going to watch this, that's the best way to do it, because it does add to the air of what's what I'm looking for here, the air of fear, creepiness, and anxiety that really permeates and gets the whole movie working as well as it does. So we'll wrap up there for today. Tomorrow we have Hollywood Stargirl, the new Disney Plus movie, and I'm going to start Parallels tonight as well. If you hear a review of Parallels tomorrow, that means I liked it. If you do not hear a review of Parallels tomorrow, it means I did not like it. Simple as that, because if I don't like it, I will not be watching past the first episode, and I will not be, discussing it, to shit on it. Which, I mean, based on the fucking numbers I'm getting on Time Traveler's Wife, I feel they should probably take that advice there too, considering fucking emails getting blown up by people being like, he's not grooming her. Like, okay, you know what? Explain to me how the time travel works and give me a good reason to understand it, and I'll believe you. But until then, have a great rest of your evening.